Hey everyone, so I'm just talking about something, but um, so it's like because um, yeah, so it's like because I'm saying like she doesn't. When I wrote that comment, I told her because I'm saying like she doesn't have to get. Okay, so basically like she doesn't have to get approval, meaning like it doesn't have to be that because what I'm talking about is in a state where she doesn't know that she doesn't understand that she is loved. So she doesn't have a sense of being loved for herself. So then because of that, then she has to basically, in order to feel that, or not feel that, but in order to like receive the love that she's needing, that she doesn't just have within herself already, then she has to get other people's approval basically to get to 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 basically be loved, or like to she like in order to have that value, in order to have that love. Well, in order for her basically, meaning herself, in order to actually the value in herself, in order to be validated, to be loved, then go she has to go to other people, and she has to basically get their approval is basically what I'm saying. And so basically, and okay, so kind of to recap, I'm talking about a comment. I'm talking about a comment I made to someone. Um, and I messaged someone, and I'm just kind of like rethinking about the comment I made. But because it's basically like, okay, because basically what I was saying was like she didn't have to. It's hard for me to talk right now because the gray matter in my brain keeps getting killed, and it's making it hard for me to talk basically because of that. But man, it's like it's hard to talk, but what I'm talking about is so important. Like it's like I'm still talking about it, even though it's the mental, or the not mental, but the brain is like the gray matter in my brain is literally being killed. So it's like I can't talk fluently. But essentially what I meant was like I was basically telling her that okay, because yeah, so basically the only thing that the message that I sent her, the only thing that it was doing was because it was basically what I was saying that basically I was saying that like she has the value, as a person she has value, even, and she doesn't, like, that value doesn't have to come from another person. Um, Man, okay, and there's like so many different ways I could go with this, because it's just like opening up, because then that goes to like, well, but in the first place, like, it's impossible for you to actually have love, so like, because you can't just have love out of the blue, like, because how love works is it's passed between humans. So if you've actually never actually been loved by someone, then like, you know, even though it's true, like you can't just like it like, well, yeah, you can't actually be loved, because if you've never, no, if no other human has actually passed the breath of God to you, and you know, and actually shown God's love through themselves to you, then you can't actually know the love, because it's passed through people. So it can't just happen out of the blue to know that you're loved, basically. So it can't just come from nothing. You can't just magically have it appear inside yourself. So that being the case, like, basically, so basically what I would told her in the message was, I said, you don't have to basically what I was doing was, like, I was basically telling her that you have the worth and you are valuable, just for being yourself in every way. Well, and I didn't say that, but I said, just for being you are valuable. So you don't have to get other people to, and really in that saying, like, getting up, because and again, like, it can. So I mean, like, I know what I meant, but it's like, now that I'm rethinking about what I meant, it's like I'm clarifying it, because I wrote the message, but like, it was kind of like, I wasn't specific. So like, it was kind of, I wrote it out, but in the message it wasn't actually like clarified, like, because someone might read it and they wouldn't really know exactly what I'm talking about, because I wasn't specific. So I kind of, like, I knew what I was saying, but I kind of didn't really like have the whole process, or have the whole thing kind of processed, like, thought out. Because when I say, like, you don't have to get other people's approval, well, I mean, I guess it could depend on, like, what kind of approval, because it could be like, you could be trying to get someone's approval in a negative way, like as in trying to get it from someone that isn't giving it to you. So like, someone, yeah, it's like you're trying to get approval from someone, and that person that you're trying to get it from isn't actually basically showing you that approval, basically. So that person isn't, you're trying to, you're telling them about yourself, you're trying to get that, you're trying to have them be focused on you and to, be engaged with you, and they aren't, and because of that, then they're not really validating you, and you're not getting that approval. So like, so I could be talking about it that way, and that would kind of be in a negative sense, or like, yeah, that would be in an unhealthy sense, because you're trying to get approval from someone that won't actually give it to you. And so like, but in the message, all I said was, like, you don't have to get anyone's approval. But it's like, well, but what kind of approval? Because because in that sense, like, yeah, but like, in the other sense, like, you might need someone's approval, because like, as humans, we need relationships with other people. So because of that, then in that way, like, you do need some, like, others' approval, but the approval isn't like, it's not like you have to, like, the approval you get from someone isn't approval like you do something good for them and it benefits them, but not you, and that they approve just because you are serving their interests. That's not the approval I'm talking about. I'm talking about the approval of, like, they approve you just for being you, and they actually approve you for being you. So, so I'm not talking about like them using you. I'm not talking about them manipulating you, using you, that kind of thing. And that was kind of what I was saying. Like, that was the sense I meant when I said you don't have to get, when I told that girl that you don't have to get other people's approval. Like, you don't have to like, you don't have to, like, please other people in this, like, manipulative sense of, like, you're pleasing them while they're not pleased, like, like, you're pleasing them just to serve their interests, and, and that's basically, that's all you're good, or that's the only, and you have to, like, serve their interests to try to please them, their selfish interests, in order to get them to, and you're trying to please them so that maybe they might approve you, but then they're not really going to actually have that approval and that, that acceptance of you, and that's kind of what I was saying, or that's what I was telling her, was like, that was really what I meant, was like, you don't have to get other people's approval in that sense of, like, you have to earn their approval, or you have to, you have to earn people's love, because that's not right, because love isn't earned, love, I don't have to earn God's love for me, I don't have to earn his love, he loves me because that is him, that's his nature, and it's not something that I deserve, it's not something I have to earn. So that's kind of what I meant, was like, if she's trying to get approval from someone in the way that she has to do something for them to earn their love, that kind of thing, then that's not healthy, and that's not right, and she doesn't, like, she doesn't have to do that, because that's not love, basically. That if that's what she's thinking, then that's not love, because that's really manipulation. That's that's manipulation. That's not actually love, because if she wants to be, well, and then that's why, so that's basically what I'm saying, is like, she doesn't have to earn people, like, she is loved, she is important, she is valuable just the way she is, and she doesn't have to earn it, she doesn't have to get it, like, it's like, she is that, she is basically important, just, and she doesn't have to get love, like, she just is loved, not for earning it, not for doing works, not doing things to earn it, but she's loved because just for being her, just for being herself, just for being her own person, is why she is where the value is, like, that's why she's valued, that's where her value is, just in being herself, just simply being herself, and just being herself, then she's valuable just as she is, essentially. And that's kind of what I'm saying, and that's God's love, and like, it, what I'm talking about, it's like, because that's exactly the same thing, because sometimes people think they have to earn their way to heaven, or they have to do certain things in order to get love, they have to earn God's love, they have to deserve God's love, but see, that's not God, and this is why what I'm saying of, like, you don't have to earn God's love, but you're just loved just because you're yourself, and because you're yourself, you're valuable, and you're an important person of value. That is God's love, because God says, because God doesn't require, we don't earn God's love, in reality, that's a demonic, that's of the devil, that's a satanic way of thinking, and because we don't have to earn God's love, because we actually, God loves us because of His character, it's because of His grace, and it's because of His character toward us. It's His character. It's His love for us isn't on the basis of us; it's on the basis of Him, that He values us because and that's why we're important, is on the basis that He values us and He loves us perfectly, and we don't have to earn it. It's not it's not an actual thing we have to earn. So, anyway, so that's really just what I was saying there. Yeah, and that's just why. Yeah, that's really what I was going at, and I guess, and I mean, when I typed her that comment, I mean, she replied back, and it affected her really goodly, but, so, yeah, so it affected her, so, she could kind of, even though maybe, my actual writing of the sentence, I didn't really word it as very kind of, I didn't word it like I did in this video, so because of that, then I guess if someone's reading it, then, they just from reading it, they might not tell, unless they know what I mean, then they may not actually, if they've never thought about it and they just read it, then they may not know what I'm talking about, because I didn't really write it out, I didn't really write the whole thing out, basically, I didn't specify what I was talking about, because I just kind of, I said, you're valuable because you're, not, I said, you're, how do I say it? I said, you're, yeah, I said because, you have to, no, I didn't. How did I say it? I said, well, okay. Basically what I'm saying is, in the wording of it, it was kind of, it wasn't off, it was kind of more it wasn't, it wasn't off. It was how is it? Okay, well, it was just kind of I said it, but I didn't specify what I was talking about, because I just said you didn't have to get approval from other people, and, I didn't really explain what that meant, I kind of just said it, but I didn't really explain what I meant by that, or what am I talking about, what kind of approval, why don't I have to get it, and what is that, I didn't really explain that. Well, yeah, I said it in a sentence that didn't exactly explain the whole thing, so, yeah, so, yeah, that's essentially it. Yeah, so, and it's just because, and then another, going off that, in terms of earning, your love, that kind of thing, see, that's not, because if you're earning your love, then that's not actually love, because, you say it's love, but, in reality, if you're trying to earn someone's love, then that's not really love, because love isn't earned, because love is of God, so if you're earning love, then that's not, in reality, what you're doing is, that's not love, because love is that this person matters, and you love that person because they matter, basically. That's what love is. But if you're saying, well, but I'm earning love, then then see that's not love. Like that gets out of it, because if you're trying to earn someone's love, then in reality what you're doing is you're trying to what you're doing is you're basically, in reality you're not loving, or in reality that's not love, because basically what that is you're being manipulated by them, because what they're doing is if that's what you're doing, then the person you're trying to earn, you're being manipulated, because what's happening is they're trying to get something out of you, but then they're not valuing you. So in reality it's not love, because they're not loving you, because they don't accept you just for being you. They don't value you. They're just trying to pull out what they can get from you. They're just trying to manipulate what they can get from you, basically. And that's why this idea of earning the love, that's what that really is that's not really love. It's not really earning the love. It's just earning, because it's not love, like I said. So love is of God. So in reality you're not earning love, you're earning you're not earning love. In reality what you're doing is you're being tricked, you're being manipulated into doing something for them, and you're them getting something out of you, and and that's manipulation, that's force, that's manipulation, and that kind of thing goes in with the devil, Satan, demonic spirits. So that's pretty much it. Because if it's force, because that's what freedom is. Freedom is you're free to meet your own needs, to meet other people's needs. That's what freedom is. But see, lack of freedom is when you're being imprisoned, you're being starved, and you're being neglected, and you're being used for someone else, and you're not free, because you're trapped in that imprisonment of like being bound to someone's will in a way of like in a negative way of like they're taking advantage of you to get something out of you, and you're basically a slave to them, is basically what it comes down to. And that's what it has to do with like being a slave to sin, and that sort of thing. So it's like that's what that is. It's the same thing. So so that's why when people think, well, I can just I don't want to go to church or I don't want to believe in God because I want to I want to be free to just do what I want to do, and if I get saved, then I'm not free. But in reality that's not actually how it is, because in reality if you're sinning, then you're not free, because you are controlled and you're a slave to the devil, and you're a slave to other people of the devil, and there's not freedom. So you're not actually free. In reality you're just in bondage, you're in corruption. But when you become saved, you become a child of God, then you have the freedom, because you are now no longer really a slave to the sin, and then you can have your own needs met, and there's not going to be that starvation of needs and stuff. So so
Uh, so, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, so that's really it. It's like, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all there is to it.